The mirror caught me. Pigtails, ribbons, lipstick that didn't belong. The dress flared too high. The tights hugged too close. I shouldn't have loved it, but I did. And that was the problem. Footsteps. Shit. Mom. My heart slammed against my ribs. I froze, every glossy detail on me now, a crime scene. I was supposed to be on a field with dirt on my knees, not teetering here in Mary Jane's, terrified she'd see the truth written all over my stupid, blushing face. Mom stood beside me, her hand warm around mine, her smile soft but unreadable. She reached up, clipping tiny silver earrings onto my lobes, the cold metal sending a shiver through me. Then she stepped back, her camera flashing as she snapped pictures, each click sealing this moment. I wanted to sink into the floor. She'd caught me too many times, sneaking into her closet, slipping into her dresses, the rustle of fabric a secret I couldn't keep. The last time, her frustration had boiled over. She'd stormed out, returning with this outfit, every piece chosen with purpose, as if to say, "If you want to play dress-up, let's do it right." She'd helped me into it, her hands steady, insisting she knew what a little girl should wear better than I ever could. But the real test came when she took my hand again, her grip firm despite my half-hearted tug of resistance. "Come on," she said, and before I could protest, we were out the door, stepping into the bright afternoon. The street buzzed with neighbors, Mrs. Larson watering her roses, old Mr. Grant walking his terrier. Their eyes landed on me, their smiles warm. "Oh, don't you look darling!" they cooed. And then, inevitably, "What's her name?" Mom's voice was smooth as she answered, "Madison." The name hung in the air, wrapping me tighter in this role, and I forced a shy smile, my cheeks burning. It felt like a lie, but it also felt right, in a way I couldn't untangle. We walked on, my Mary Janes tapping the sidewalk, until we reached the corner. My stomach lurched. There they were, my teammates, all lanky limbs and loud laughs, tossing a baseball back and forth, shoving each other playfully. I froze, but Mom's hand tightened, guiding me across the street. The boys parted like a sea, their eyes sliding over us without a flicker of recognition. Not one of them saw me. I was just some girl in a dress, walking with her mom. Relief flooded me, but it was tinged with something else, a strange ache I couldn't name. Mom let go of my hand as we turned back toward home, the gesture deliberate, as if to say, "You're choosing this now." I kept pace beside her, the satin skirt swishing against my thighs, trying to ignore the weight of eyes that might still be watching. We were almost home when a bike skidded to a stop in front of us. Jenny, the girl from around the block, grinned, her ponytail bouncing. "Hi, Mrs. K," she chirped, then turned to me, her eyes bright with curiosity. "I'm Jenny, with an E. What's your name?" I froze, my voice caught in my throat. Mom nudged me gently. "Madison," I mumbled, barely audible, terrified she'd see through me. But Jenny just beamed. "Maddie," Mom said, her tone warm, "is staying with us for the weekend, Jenny. She doesn't have many clothes yet, but maybe she can play later." Jenny's face lit up. "Awesome! I'll swing by after dinner." She pedaled off, leaving me stunned. Back inside, Mom's voice was firm. "Stay put. We're going shopping. You need something to wear when Jenny comes over, something that fits the girl you're going to be." I wanted to argue, but the look in her eyes told me it was pointless. 2 hours later, we were back from the store, bags rustling with clothes she'd picked out, things she said I'd need. In my room, she held up a pale blue gingham romper, crisp and unmistakably girlish. I groaned. "Mom, please. Jenny's gonna know it's me. She'll—" Her voice cut through, calm but unyielding. "After all the times I found you in my closet, I'd think you'd be thrilled to have your own clothes. These are stylish, they fit, and they're perfect for you. No more arguing. Stand still." She slipped a training bra over my shoulders, tucking a thin sock into each cup for shape, then pulled a white tee over my head. The romper came next, its buttons cool against my skin. I swapped the tights for ankle socks and my old gym shoes. the only familiar thing left. "Go outside," she said. "Dinner's in an hour." I stepped onto the porch, the summer air warm against my bare legs, my mind racing. How had I been so careless? Mom had warned me last time if she caught me in her clothes again, I'd regret it. And here I was, caught again, just days into summer break. I'd been dreaming of baseball games, cannonballs into the lake, long days of nothing but freedom. Now, I wasn't sure what lay ahead, only that the girl in the mirror was following me, and I wasn't sure I wanted to outrun her. The shopping bags still sat in the corner of my room, their contents a quiet promise or threat of more days like this. Mom had gone all out. The gingham romper I wore now, soft cotton panties, a handful of bright tops, 2 skirts that swished when I moved, and another dress, its fabric a pale yellow that caught the light. I couldn't shake the sinking feeling that this wasn't just a one-day experiment. Over dinner, Mom's tone softened, her fork pausing midair as she studied me. "I thought this would show you how silly it is for a boy to dress like a girl," she said, her voice gentler than before. She hesitated, then added, "But you look... Darling, honestly. Do you like it? The dress? The clothes we bought?" I shifted in my seat, the romper's straps tugging slightly. "Yeah," I mumbled, the word grudging but honest. Her smile bloomed, warm and knowing. "I thought so. Here's the deal then. You'll dress like this for a week, every day. After that, we'll sit down and figure out what's next." Before I could respond, the doorbell chimed, sharp and insistent. Jenny stood on the porch, her bike propped against the steps. Mom ushered her in, her voice bright. "Maddie, you can borrow my bike if you two want to ride around." Jenny's eyes lit up, and she grabbed my hand, pulling me outside before I could protest. I climbed onto Mom's old Schwinn, its frame too big but steady enough, and we pedaled down the street, the summer breeze tugging at my pigtails. My stomach churned. This was beyond dangerous. If Jenny figured out who I was, my life would be over-teased into oblivion, the kid who dressed like a girl. But she just chattered away, oblivious, pointing out houses and neighbors as we rode. "That's Zach," she said, as we passed a group of boys tossing a ball. "And Liam, the tall one's Tyler." My heart thudded. They were my teammates, the guys I'd spent all spring with, diving for grounders and cheering in the dugout. Then, like a nightmare, they circled us, their bikes closing in. Tyler leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. "Who are you?" he asked, his voice curious but sharp. Jenny answered before I could open my mouth. "This is Maddie. She's just here for a bit." I held my breath, waiting for a smirk, a jab, anything to show they knew. But they just nodded, and soon we were all riding together, tires humming against the pavement. I kept my head down, my voice low, every word a tightrope walk. When the boys peeled off, shouting about meeting up later, I let out a shaky breath. They hadn't known. Not one of them. Jenny and I looped back to my house, the sky turning pink at the edges. She waved goodbye, pedaling off, and I slipped inside, my legs wobbly from more than just the ride. Mom was waiting, her hands gentle as she helped me out of the romper. She handed me a nightgown, soft cotton dotted with tiny rabbits, and I slid it on, the fabric cool against my skin. In bed, I stared at the ceiling, replaying the day. Fear had gripped me every second, but beneath it was something else. Nobody had recognized me, not my teammates, not Jenny, who sat next to me in math class and barely said more than hi all year. They saw Maddie, and that was all. Mom's words echoed. "A week, then we'll decide." I loved how the clothes felt, the way my reflection in the mirror seemed to fit in a way my usual jeans and tees never did. My hair, braided and ribboned, made me smile in secret. But admitting that to Mom? Not yet. The next morning, I woke early, the house quiet. I slipped out of the nightgown and opened the dresser, my fingers brushing the new clothes. I pulled on fresh panties, then the training bra, fumbling with the straps until it sat right. A flowered top came next, its color soft against the tan shorts I zipped up. I padded to the kitchen, the shorts' hem brushing my thighs, and found Mom at the table, coffee steaming in her mug. She looked up, her eyebrows lifting. "The bra? That top? You're dressing up again today?" I froze, my spoon halfway to my mouth. "But you said I had to! For the whole week!" My voice cracked, defensive. Mom's eyes softened, but there was something new in them realization. "Yes, I did. And you look lovely, honey. But that was a test. If you'd come down in your own clothes, I wouldn't have made you change. I was trying to see—" She stopped, her gaze searching mine. "Now I get it. This isn't just playing, is it? You like being a girl. All those times in my closet, you weren't just messing around. You were trying to be her, weren't you?" I stared at my cereal, the flakes soggy and untouched. Silence was my only answer, but it said enough. Mom leaned back, her voice steady. "All right, let's stick with the plan 1 week, like I said. If you still want this after, I'll get you more clothes." "But it means no baseball, you know that. You and Jenny, though you're the only girls around here. I bet you'll have fun together." Her familiar look settled in, the one that meant she'd made up her mind. "So, what'll it be? Keep going as Maddie, or change and go play ball with the guys?" My throat tightened. The choice felt like a trap, each path leading somewhere I wasn't ready to go. The choice hung heavy, a knot in my chest I couldn't untie. Part of me ached to stay Maddie, to slip deeper into the girl I saw in the mirror, her ponytail swinging, her clothes bright and soft. But every day, as her meant risking my friends' eyes sharpening, their laughter turning sharp, the kind of teasing that would follow me for years. The other path, stripping off the shorts and flowered top, pulling on my old jeans, and running out to the field with the guys felt safer, but it also felt like abandoning something I wasn't ready to let go. I sat at the kitchen table, my cereal long forgotten, while Mom watched me, her silence patient but expectant. Finally, she stood, her chair scraping softly. She took my hand, her touch gentle but firm, and led me to the mirror in the hall. With deft fingers, she brushed my hair into a high ponytail, securing it with a small white bow that gleamed against the dark strands. She stepped back, her eyes tracing me from head to toe, no makeup today, just the tan shorts and flowered top, simple but unmistakable. "I don't mind if you dress like this," she said, her voice steady. "But if you're going to be a girl, you need to act like one. It's your best shield out there." Her words landed like a warning and a promise, and I knew exactly what she meant. Half measures wouldn't do. I grabbed Mom's bike from the garage, the handlebars cool under my palms, and pedaled out into the morning. The street was quiet, the sun just starting to warm the pavement. I circled the block, hoping to spot Jenny's familiar ponytail, but her house stood silent, the curtains drawn. My stomach twisted as I slowed in front of her porch. Knocking felt like crossing a line I couldn't uncross, but standing there, frozen, was worse. I forced myself up the steps and pressed the bell, the chime echoing inside. The door swung open, and a woman with Jenny's warm brown eyes smiled down at me. "You must be Maddie," she said, her voice kind. "I'm Jenny's mom. Come in." I hesitated, but she waved me inside. "Jenny's still in bed, lazy thing. Why don't you go wake her? She should be up by now." My throat tightened, 1,000 excuses bubbling up. But she pointed to a door down the hall, her tone leaving no room for argument. I knocked softly, my heart hammering. A muffled groan came from inside, and I pushed the door open, stepping into a room that felt like stepping into a cloud. Pale blue walls glowed in the morning light, a canopy bed draped in white and blue fabric dominating the center. A lump under the covers stirred faintly Jenny. "Jenny," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. No response. "Jenny!" I tried again, louder. A head popped up, her hair a wild tangle, eyes squinting through sleep. In a blur, she threw off the covers, and I froze as she scrambled out of bed, her bare skin catching the light before she turned to her dresser, yanking out a pair of panties. My face burned, every nerve alight as I tried to look anywhere else, the floor, the ceiling, the stuffed bear on her shelf. It was the first time I'd seen a girl my age like that, and I fought to keep my breathing steady. "I stayed up late," Jenny mumbled, stepping into shorts and clipping on a tiny bra with practiced ease. She pulled on a shirt, and just like that, she was Jenny again, grinning as she led me to the kitchen. She shoveled cereal into her mouth while I sipped orange juice, the cold glass grounding me. "This is Maddie," Jenny said to her mom, gesturing at me. "She lives down the street." Her mom nodded, her smile warm, and soon we were back outside, bikes humming as we rode through the neighborhood. The morning was still young, but we spotted Liam and Zach, their baseball gloves dangling from their handlebars, headed for the park. Jenny glanced at me. "Want to watch the guys play?" I nodded, unable to say no without raising questions. A new girl in town wouldn't know the team, wouldn't care about the game the way I did. We stopped at my house long enough to tell Mom we were going to the park, then pedaled off. At the playground, we claimed the swings, the chains creaking as we swayed. "Where you from?" Jenny asked, her feet dragging in the dirt. "Here," I said, keeping it vague. "I just stayed inside a lot." She nodded, kicking at the ground. "It's nice not being the only girl around. The boys are always playing that dumb game, and I'm stuck watching or hanging with my mom." I smiled, a warmth spreading through me. Jenny saw me as Maddie, no questions, no doubts. It felt like a small victory, one I hadn't expected. We swung in silence, the rhythm steadying my nerves. I didn't think about the guys knowing where I lived, didn't consider how thin the line I was walking really was. The crack of a bat pulled us to the field, where the boys were playing a loose, messy game, more chasing wild hits than anything organized. Jenny and I settled on a grassy knoll, the sun warm on our shoulders. I watched my teammates, their shouts and laughter so familiar, yet I felt a world apart. The game held my attention, but Jenny's presence beside me kept me grounded, her occasional comments about the players light and easy. After a while, we biked back to my house, thirsty for soda and shade. We pushed through the front door, the cool air a relief, only to stop short. There, in the living room, sat Mom and Jenny's mom, their conversation pausing as they turned to look at us. "Hey, girls!" Mom called from the doorway, her voice light. "Maddie, grab a soda for you and Jenny, but drink them out on the patio." We nodded, raiding the fridge for cold cans, the fizz sharp against my tongue as we settled at the wrought iron table outside. The patio smelled of warm concrete and blooming jasmine, the summer air soft around us. Barely 5 minutes passed before our moms joined us, their voices carrying that easy rhythm of old friends. Jenny's mom, Diane, leaned forward, her eyes on me. "Maddie, we're taking Jenny for pictures tomorrow. Would you like to come? We'll shop a bit after, maybe grab ice cream." Mom's face lit up. "That's a perfect idea, Diane." "Maddie hasn't had a proper portrait in ages. She can get hers done too. You know what? I'll come along, we could do a mother-daughter photo." Diane's smile widened. "Why not make it a whole day? Jenny's been begging for a more grown-up hairstyle. We could take the girls to a salon first, get their hair styled, nails painted, maybe a little makeup before the photos." Mom nodded, her eyes glinting with enthusiasm. "If we're doing that, Maddie and I need to shop tonight. She's shot up so fast, half her nice clothes don't fit anymore. Let's meet here tomorrow morning, say 9? "Perfect," Diane said, taking Jenny's hand. "See you then, Karen." They headed out, Jenny waving as they disappeared down the driveway. I sat there, my soda can sweating in my hand, my brain slow to catch up. I'd told Jenny's mom where I lived without thinking, and now here were our mothers, plotting a day that would lock me deeper into being Maddie's salon, photos, the works. As we drove to the mall, Mom's voice broke the quiet. "It's time you started dressing more like a young lady, not a little girl." Her words hung there, both exciting and confusing. I wasn't sure what she meant, but the idea of stepping away from frilly rompers sparked something in me. She glanced over, her hands steady on the wheel. "I know this is sudden, And I promised you a week to decide if this is who you want to be. If you don't want to do tomorrow, that's okay. But, she paused, her smile soft. It'd be special to have a nice picture of us together, even if you choose to stop after. Her words felt like a bridge, one I could cross or turn back from. Then she added, If you come, I'll make sure you look as girly as Jenny. That might matter, especially after this morning, seeing her change. My breath caught. She knew about me standing frozen in Jenny's room, watching her scramble into clothes. Mom's eyes flicked to me, calm but piercing, and I swallowed hard. I'll look like Jenny? I asked, my voice small. Not quite, she said, a grin tugging at her lips. You'll look like you, but I'll make sure you're unmistakably a girl, not a boy, and not a little kid either. A young lady, just stepping into her own. That means small breasts, maybe a bit of curve at the hips, less frilly dresses, more pantyhose, heels, sophisticated styles. It sounded thrilling, overwhelming, and terrifying all at once. Okay, I said, the words slipping out before I could overthink it. I'll do it. Mom's smile widened, and we pulled into the mall's sprawling lot. In the lingerie section, she handed me a white bra with matching panties, then added more sets, pale pink, soft blue, each one delicate and foreign in my hands. I didn't see everything she bought, too dazed to notice the other bags she tucked away. We moved to dresses, where I tried on one after another, the fabric smooth and cool against my skin. Mom's eyes were sharp, approving only when the fit was just right. By the end, we'd added 2 skirts, a simple navy dress, and a few blouses. Then came my first heels white, with a low heel that made my steps feel precarious but purposeful, and a matching handbag, its leather buttery under my fingers. As we drove home, Mom's voice was warm. I just know you're going to be beautiful tomorrow. Back in my room, she had me undress, the air cool against my bare skin. From a bag, she pulled out 2 soft, flesh-colored forms, each fitting perfectly in her palm, a faint dimple in the back. These, she said, are to help you look the part. She cleaned my chest with warm water, then rubbing alcohol, its sharp scent stinging my nose. With careful precision, she dabbed glue onto each form, her hands steady as she prepared to shape me into the girl we both knew I wanted to be. Mom pressed the soft, flesh-colored forms against my chest, her hands steady as she held them in place. After a few minutes, she let go, and I glanced down, my breath catching. They were small, subtle, but unmistakable curves that mirrored Jenny's own. Mom unwrapped a new bra, its white straps crisp and delicate, and helped me slip it on, adjusting it until it fit just right. In the mirror, I saw her, or maybe just a reflection of who I was starting to believe I could be. Maddie, with a shape that felt like mine, small breasts defining her silhouette. A grin spread across my face, and I turned to Mom, wrapping my arms around her in a wordless hug, warmth flooding through me. As I reached for my clothes, she stopped me, holding out a skin-toned garment that looked like panties, but felt heavier. This, too, she said, and I stepped into it, the padded hips and backside giving me a softer, rounder shape. I pulled on the flowered top and tan shorts again, marveling at how my reflection had shifted, the lines of my body now undeniably girlish. That night, Mom came into my room, a pale pink nightgown draped over her arm. I slipped it on, the fabric whispering against my skin, and climbed into bed. Come sit, she said, patting the mattress beside her. I settled next to her, the bed creaking softly. Her voice was gentle but serious. I know you love this, Maddie dressing as a girl. It's clear as day. But the other boys, your friends, they'll notice a girl staying here, and they haven't seen you in a while. If they figure out Maddie is the boy they know, the teasing could be brutal. That's why we're doing those forms, the clothes to make you look so much like a girl they won't question it. I nodded, my throat tight. But there's more, she continued. School starts in the fall. You'll have to go back to being a boy then. You know that, right? I dipped my head, the weight of her words sinking in. Spending the whole summer as Maddie, she said. You'll get used to it moving like a girl, talking like one. By August, you might not remember how to be a boy. Have you thought about that? No, I admitted, my voice small. And Jenny, Mom went on, her eyes searching mine. She doesn't know you're a boy. She thinks you're my niece or cousin, maybe. But her mom knows. Diane wasn't thrilled when she heard Jenny changed in front of you this morning. So we need to decide. Do you tell Jenny the truth, or let her find out some other way? I froze, my mind racing. What if she tells the guys? I'll lose all my friends. They'll never let me live it down. Mom's hand rested on my shoulder. Diane and I don't think she will. Think about it, Jenny's the only girl around here. If she tells, she's back to being alone, with no one to hang out with. You two get along so well already. We think she'll keep it quiet. But just to be sure, Diane will talk to her. Make it clear this stays between the four of us. I swallowed hard, the choice heavy. Okay, I said finally, the word barely audible. Mom gave me a small smile, then left me to my thoughts. I climbed under the covers, but sleep didn't come easily. In my dreams, Jenny's face blurred into mine, her body becoming my own, a girl's curves with my eyes staring back. I woke unsettled, the image lingering. The next morning, after a quick breakfast, Mom handed me a bottle of bubble bath, its floral scent spilling out as she poured it into the tub. In you go, she said. The water enveloped me, warm and fragrant, tiny bubbles clinging to my skin. As I soaked, the flowery aroma wrapped around me, and I realized being a girl came with small, unexpected joys beyond the skirts and dresses. My skin felt silky, softer than ever, and when I stepped out, towel wrapped around me, I was cleaner, fresher than I'd ever been as a boy. I stood there, the mirror fogged with steam, feeling like Maddie was more than just a reflection, now she was part of me, growing stronger with every choice I made. The bed was a sea of new clothes, carefully laid out by Mom's steady hands. I picked up the panties, their lace trim soft against my fingers, and paused. A spark of curiosity flickered something bold and new. I tucked myself carefully, a strange but thrilling adjustment, before slipping the panties on, their fit snug and smooth. The bra, with its front hook, was easier to manage alone, and I fastened it with a small surge of pride. The padded panty came next, shaping my hips into gentle curves. I eyed the pantyhose, their sheer fabric dauntingly delicate, and called for Mom. She breezed in, showing me how to gather them and roll them up my legs, her hands guiding mine. The slip followed, cool and silky, and then the dress, a soft green number, that hugged my waist as she zipped it up, making the small forms on my chest stand out proudly. I stepped into the white low heels, wobbling only slightly. In her bedroom, Mom brushed my hair, parting it down the middle and securing it with a simple headband, leaving a few strands to frame my face. She clipped on small pearl earrings, draped a delicate necklace around my throat, and dabbed a floral perfume on my wrists. I practiced walking in the heels, surprised at how quickly I found my balance. Catching my reflection, I froze. The pantyhose gave my legs a sleek, polished look, and with the dress's hem brushing my knees, I looked older, more like a teenager. A thrill ran through me. I had good legs. Jenny and her mom arrived just as Mom finished getting ready, and we piled into the car, headed for the salon. Sitting beside Jenny, the weight of what I'd have to tell her later pressed against me, but she was all smiles, chattering about how this was her first time at a beauty shop. Me too, I said, matching her excitement, though my stomach twisted as we pulled into the lot. Inside, we flipped through hairstyle books, glossy pages filled with curls and bobs. Mom pointed to one I'd lingered on, a soft, wavy style. This would look darling on you, she said, then leaned closer when the stylist stepped away. It's a perm, Maddie. It'll last for months, longer than the week we agreed on. If you go back to school as a boy, it's going to be a big deal to undo this. I hesitated, but the image in the book called to me. I want it, I said, firm. Mom raised an eyebrow but nodded, adding, And a new color blonde. It'll help keep you safe, make you look different. The stylist worked her magic, and when she spun me around, I barely recognized myself. Blonde waves on top, tight curls at the back, shorter than I'd expected, but vibrant. My nails, now filed and painted a soft pink, gleamed under the lights. Jenny, her own hair freshly styled, grinned at me as we left for the photo studio. The camera flashed relentlessly 20 shots of me alone, my dress smooth and heels steady, then a dozen more with Mom, her arm around me, her smile warm. Jenny and her mom were in another room, their own session underway. When we finished, we headed to the ice cream parlor, my heart pounding with what was coming. Every step in my heels, every brush of my nylon-clad legs, pulled me deeper into Maddie. The dress hugged my curves, my new hair bounced with each movement, and the makeup light but precise made me feel like Jenny's peer, not just a pretender. Seated at the parlor, Mom said something about friendship, her words a gentle nudge. I took a breath, the words tumbling out before I could stop them. Jenny, I'm a boy, but I've always wanted to be a girl, and now that I am, I don't want to go back. She blinked, then grinned. She blinked hard, then stared at me, silent for a beat. I kinda guessed, she said finally. But, wow, that's a lot. You okay? My jaw dropped. You knew? Since we went to your house and you called her Mom. No other girls live around here, and you've been in that house forever. She shrugged, scooping her ice cream. I wanted to melt into the seat, but she leaned closer. But you're not leaving, right? We're the only girls in the neighborhood. You have to stay. I don't want to be alone all summer. Jenny's mom chimed in, her voice calm but firm. Maddie will be here all summer, but there are rules you both need to follow. She laid them out, boundaries about changing, privacy, the same ones Mom had stressed. We nodded, the weight of it settling in. After we finished, Jenny and I stepped outside, lingering near the door so our moms could find us. The afternoon sun warmed my bare shoulders, and I turned to her, still reeling. You really knew? She laughed, nudging my arm. Yup, and I'm glad you're here, Maddie. It's going to be a great summer. Jenny's smile was bright, her eyes glinting with mischief. It didn't matter, she said, shrugging. I was sick of being alone, and you wanted to be a girl and hang out with me, so I didn't care. Plus, you're kinda cute. She nudged me, then leaned closer. Oh, by the way, Tyler called me last night. Wanted to know about you. My stomach dropped. What did you say? Just that you're staying at your house. Your name's Maddie, and we're basically the same age. She grinned, oblivious to my panic. Great, I muttered, sarcasm dripping. That's all I need, one of the guys sniffing around. So what? Jenny said, her voice bubbling with excitement. They'll never figure it out. You don't look like you anymore, especially with the blonde hair. Honestly, you're cuter now. Easy for you to say, I shot back. You're a girl. She tilted her head, her ponytail swinging. And so are you, Maddie. Look at yourself and tell me you're not. Before I could argue, our moms emerged from the parlor, ushering us toward the mall. Mom kept the shopping light a small makeup kit for me. Simple stuff like lip gloss and mascara. And then, at her insistence, I got my ears pierced. The sting of the needle sharp but quick. Tiny silver studs gleamed in my lobes. Somewhere in the blur of stores, Mom decided I needed a swimsuit, tossing in a one-piece with a soft blue pattern, plus another romper, a few tops, and a pair of pink shoelaces that made me smile despite myself. Back home, I swapped the dress for shorts and a sleeveless top, lacing my gym shoes with the new pink cords. They stood out, bold and unapologetic, and I felt a spark of confidence as I headed to Jenny's. I barely made it to the corner when Tyler came barreling across the street from Zach's house, his sneakers kicking up dust. He skidded to a stop, his cheeks faintly pink. Hey, he said, almost shy. I'm Tyler. What's your name? Maddie, I said, keeping my voice soft, praying he wouldn't catch the familiar cadence. You going to Jenny's? Yeah, we're headed to the park. I paused, then added, Why? No reason, he said quickly, shoving his hands in his pockets. I was going that way. Want to walk together? I shrugged and we fell into step, his lanky frame towering beside me. My heart thudded, but he didn't seem to notice anything off, just kept pace as we reached Jenny's. When I moved to ring the bell, he mumbled something and bolted back the way we'd come. Jenny answered, her grin instant, and we headed out, my nerves still buzzing. Tyler walked me here, I told her as we started toward the park. Said he was going this way. Jenny's eyes lit up, and she practically bounced. That's awesome! I'm glad it was Tyler and not Liam. I want Liam for myself. I rolled my eyes. I don't want anybody. She laughed, undeterred, and we sauntered past the field where the guys were tossing a ball, slowing just enough to catch their eyes. Jenny teased me mercilessly about Tyler, her voice dropping to a whisper as she confessed she'd kissed Liam and liked it. My jaw dropped, but I didn't have time to process before we reached the park, settling on a bench to watch the world go by. 20 minutes later, the guys strolled past, their casual pace too deliberate to be chance. Jenny had predicted this, and sure enough, she flipped her hair, one hip cocked, drawing them like moths. Liam's smile was all for her, and he took her hand, leading her to the swings with an ease that left me stunned. Tyler shuffled closer, his hands stuffed in his pockets. Want to walk by the lake? He asked, glancing at Jenny and Liam. They seem busy. I looked over, saw Jenny laughing, her attention fully on Liam, and nodded. Tyler's hand closed around mine, warm and startlingly large, and we started toward the lake. I'd never held a boy's hand before, and the strength in his grip, the way it dwarfed mine, made me hyper-aware of every step. I knew I could outrun him on the bases, but this felt different, like he was twice my size. He didn't talk much at first, just pointed out fish darting near the water's edge, as if I couldn't see them myself. I stayed quiet, letting him ramble about fishing big worms, bobbers, his pride in his skill. I knew he was good. I'd seen him at the lake before. Then he caught me off guard. Want to come tomorrow? I'm fishing. I can show you how. I blinked, my mind scrambling. I'll come, I said after a beat, but I'm just watching. He grinned, and for a moment, I forgot to be afraid. Tyler's grin lingered as he took my hand again, his fingers warm and steady, guiding me back to the swings. We arrived just as Jenny slipped from her swing, tumbling into Liam's arms with a burst of laughter. She grabbed his hand, her eyes bright, and they strolled off together. Tyler walked me home, our hands still linked, all the way to my front door. I'll come by tomorrow, round 8, he said, his voice casual but certain. For fishing. Inside, Mom was waiting, her eyebrow arched. Have a nice day? Was that Tyler I saw? Yeah, I said, kicking off my shoes. He asked me to go fishing in the morning. You're going? She sounded surprised. I said I would. It's just fishing, Mom, not a date or anything. She smirked. You hate fishing. Well, yeah, but... I trailed off, unsure how to explain. Mom let it drop, and after dinner, I slipped into my nightgown, the soft fabric settling over me as I crawled into bed. I wanted to be ready when Tyler showed up, so I set my alarm early. In the morning, I pulled on new jeans, a thin blouse, and an old sweatshirt, my gym shoes now laced with those bold pink cords. My blonde curls fell perfectly, just as the stylist had promised, and I added a touch of mascara and lipstick, my hands steady, but my heart racing. On impulse, I spritzed on a bit of perfume, the floral scent light but unmistakable. Mom's smile was knowing as I joined her for breakfast. You know, she said, stirring her coffee, Tyler's taking a shine to you. Nah, I said, too quick. He just needed a fishing buddy. Hardly, she laughed. Maddie, he asked you because he wants to know you. Boys his age are drawn to girls, and you're a pretty one. She leaned back, her eyes sharp. Would Tyler have held your hand if you were still a boy? No way, I said, my cheeks warming. Exactly. And that perfume? She raised an eyebrow. You're wearing it to be noticed, aren't you? To have Tyler notice you? I stared at my toast, silent, my face burning. Being a girl isn't just the clothes, Mom said, her voice softer now, her hand closing over mine. The clothes shape how others see you, but how you act, that's who you are. You wanted this, and I've let you explore it because you needed to. But now, with boys like Tyler around, you need to understand what being a girl means. You let him hold your hand. You're going fishing with him, wearing perfume and lipstick. That says more than words ever could. She paused, her gaze steady. When Tyler tries to kiss you, and he will, I'm sure of it you'll feel what it's like to be a girl. Especially if you like it. I'm not letting him kiss me, I snapped, my voice sharp. We're just going to the lake. Have fun, Maddie, she said, her tone light but pointed. Tell me how it goes tonight. Tyler showed up right on time, a fishing rod in each hand, his grin easy. Brought an extra, he said, leading the way to the lake. As we walked, he chatted about baiting hooks and casting lines. Then, out of nowhere, he asked, Want to come to my cousin's birthday party? My aunt throws great ones fancy, though. I'd wear a suit, and you'd need a nice dress. I froze, my mind blank, and said nothing, focusing on the path ahead. At the lake, we stepped onto the pier, the water glinting in the morning sun. Tyler baited my hook, his fingers deft, and cast both our lines into the water. We sat, watching the bobbers float, the silence comfortable but dull. Then mine dipped, vanishing under the surface. I yanked the rod, the line taut, and Tyler whooped. You've got a monster! My arms burned as I reeled, Tyler coaching me through it, his excitement infectious. It took forever, but finally, he leaned over the pier, netting a thrashing fish and unhooking it with a practiced hand. Nice one, he said, dropping it into a bucket. I was grinning, caught up in the moment, when he turned, grabbed my shoulders, and kissed me, quick, soft, right on the lips. My heart stopped, my mind a jumble of shock and something else, something warm and unfamiliar, as the lake sparkled behind us. My cheeks burned as Tyler baited my hook again, his kiss still lingering like an echo. We fished in silence for a while, the bobber's gentle sway a distraction, but after a couple of hours, he suggested a break. We set the rods down and wandered along the lake's edge, pebbles crunching underfoot. I was scanning the water for minnows when his arm slipped around my shoulders, warm and heavy. I opened my mouth to protest, but before I could, he spun me to face him and kissed me again, this time slower, deeper. My breath caught, and when he pulled back, we were both flushed, panting. He let out a whoop, his grin wide, but I stepped away, my heart racing. I didn't leave, though, tethered by something I couldn't name. So, he said, kicking a stone into the water, will you come to my cousin's party with me? I hesitated, grasping for a way out, for a way. I'd have to ask my mom. When is it? Saturday, around 2, I think. I didn't realize it then, but by saying I'd ask, I'd all but agreed to go. My attempt to stall backfired, the words sinking like a stone. Back home, I told Mom about the invite, my voice flat. She tilted her head, her eyes sharp. You can go if you want, Maddie, but remember what I said this morning. Her words from breakfast replayed about boys, about being a girl, about what it all meant. I slumped at the kitchen table, my mind a tangle. I'd wanted to be a girl, had chased that feeling through dresses and perms, but boys? Kissing? That hadn't crossed my mind until Tyler's lips met mine twice. Mom's voice cut through my thoughts, casual but pointed. Did you like it, when Tyler kissed you? I didn't think, just answered. Yes! The words slipped out, raw and honest, and I froze. Then go to the party, she said, her tone gentle but firm. Have a good time. Be Maddie. But he thinks I'm a girl, I blurted, my voice cracking. Of course he does, she said, almost laughing. You're wearing dresses, your hair's done, you've got makeup and perfume. What did you expect? Jenny, of course, had heard about the party from Tyler via Liam's gossip chain. She cornered me later, her eyes gleaming. You have to go. You'll meet more kids, and Tyler's such a good kisser, right? I blinked, stunned. How do you know that? Tyler told Liam you're a great kisser, and Liam told me. She leaned in, eager. So? How was it? Okay, I guess, I mumbled. He caught me off guard. Saturday morning, I sank into another bubble bath, the floral scent wrapping around me like a promise. I dressed carefully, pantyhose, heels, the pink sheath dress with white trim that hugged my curves just right. Mom styled my hair, pinning pink and white clips on either side, and helped with my makeup, her brushstrokes steady. I stared at my reflection, the blonde curls framing my face, the dress making me feel older, prettier every bit as much a girl as Jenny or anyone else. But deep down, I knew I wasn't. Not really. Still, the feeling was intoxicating, and I let it carry me. Tyler arrived with his mom, both our mothers snapping pictures as I stood there, my smile bright but brittle. At the party, Tyler led me inside, introducing me to his aunt, a warm woman with a quick laugh. The patio was alive with kids our age, some familiar faces from school, others strangers. But all of them saw me as Maddie, no questions asked. I relaxed, the knot in my chest loosening. Tyler stayed close, fetching me punch, guiding me through dances, his hand warm in mine. It was everything a boy would do for a girl on a first date, and though it felt strange, I soaked it in, loving the attention, the way it made me feel seen. As the afternoon wore on, the crowd thinned, kids pairing off to dance slow or slip away to talk. Tyler and I swayed to a soft song, his arms around me, our feet barely moving. Then he kissed me again, his lips soft but sure. This time, I wasn't shocked. I pulled back, my voice firm. Don't do that. He nodded, but his eyes didn't leave mine. His mom drove us home, and the moment I stepped inside, the weight of the day crashed over me. Mom was there, her arms open as I started to cry, tears spilling without reason. She led me to my room, helping me out of the dress as I babbled, my words a jumble of confusion and truth. I liked it, Mom, I choked out. Being noticed, being her. I don't want to be a boy again. I want to be a girl, always. Can you make me one? So I don't feel like this anymore? She held me close, her voice soft but steady. I love having you as my daughter, Maddie, but when school starts, you'll have to go back to being a boy. You know that. I nodded, tears still falling because she was right. And when fall came, that's exactly what I did. The dresses packed away, Maddie tucked into a corner of my heart, waiting. The summer faded, but I clung to Jenny, seeing her every day until school loomed. Tyler kept circling, his questions about Maddie sharp and hopeful, but I pushed him away, my voice firm. She's leaving, I told him, and we can only be friends. His face fell, but I couldn't carry his dreams alongside my own. Jenny tried to lift my spirits, her laughter a lifeline. But 2 days before school started, I sat in the salon chair, watching as they sheared my blonde curls short, dyeing them back to their original brown. In a small booth, I changed into jeans and a tee, the mirror showing a boy I barely recognized. Tears welled up as Mom drove us home, the loss of Maddie cutting deeper than I'd expected. There was no other way, but it didn't make it easier. School began, and I was a shadow of myself, trudging through the halls in a fog of misery. My birthday came a week later, a milestone that should have mattered, but I brushed it off, the day as gray as my mood. Jenny stayed close, her presence keeping me from unraveling completely. At home, Mom let me slip into Maddie's clothes on rare evenings, the familiar rustle of skirts, a fleeting comfort. But school was a daily reminder of what I'd lost, girls in bright tops and swinging ponytails, their laughter echoing the summer I'd lived as one of them. The ache lingered through fall, dragging into Christmas, until Mom finally pulled me aside for a serious talk. Her first words calm, probing, unlocked something in me. "I want to be Maddie again," I burst out, my voice raw. "Full time, please, Mom." She didn't agree right away, but she softened, offering a compromise. Maddie could return on weekends and school breaks. My hair had grown out, curling at the ends, and I still wore tiny studs in my ears. I had the breast forms and padded panty, but when I tried my old clothes, they didn't fit right. I'd grown, and stuffing bras and squeezing into too small skirts felt like a mockery of the girl I'd been. It was enough to keep me going, but just barely. A fragile thread of hope. As winter thawed into spring, summer on its heels, I sat Mom down again. "I want to be Maddie this summer," I said, my voice steady. "But we both know if I do, I won't be able to stop. I can't go back." Her eyes held mine, searching, but she didn't say yes or no, leaving me in a tense limbo. I was too scared to push, to lay bare how deeply I needed this. Tyler complicated things, his questions about Maddie relentless. "She's the girl of my dreams," he said, his voice earnest. But I could only shrug. "I don't know when she'll be back." A few days before spring break, I came home from school and stopped short. My closet was alive with new clothes dresses, skirts, blouses, their fabrics soft under my fingers. I didn't touch them, not yet. But at dinner, Mom's voice was warm, certain. "I've decided you can dress as a girl again, Maddie. I bought you new breast forms, bras, panties, things that fit who you are now." She reached for my hand, her words echoing my unspoken truth. "We both know once you start, you won't stop. Since you went back to being a boy, it's been like living with a storm cloud. But last summer, as Maddie, you were different, gentle, polite, the daughter any mother would cherish. Maddie needs to come back, or we'll both be miserable. But I need to know you'll be okay at school if I let you do this." It took me an hour to transform, stepping back into Maddie's skin. The new breast forms gave me a full A cup, my figure modest but mine. I chose a navy pleated skirt, a white top, ankle socks, and my gym shoes. The pink laces, a quiet rebellion. At Jenny's house, she squealed, pulling me into a hug, her laughter infectious. I told her my plan. Maddie for the summer, then back to school in the fall as a girl. "Can I do it?" I asked, my voice small. She laughed, her confidence a spark that lit me up. I went home and told Mom, "I'm ready." 2 days after summer break began, Maddie returned. Tyler had moved on to another girl, which suited me fine, and I spent my days with Jenny, refining every gesture, every word, until being a girl felt as natural as breathing. When freshman year arrived, I stepped into school as Maddie, my heart pounding but my head high. I'd feared rejection, but the halls welcomed me as just another student. Laser treatments smoothed away the faint shadow of a beard, a small price for the life I was building. I never went back to the boy I'd been. In my closet, I keep that first black and white dress, its ribbons and patent leather shoes, a quiet monument to where it all began. Pigtails and satin have given way to the lace and silk of a woman, but sometimes, in the mirror's soft light, I catch a glimpse of that wide-eyed girl who started it all, and I smile.